Our topic for today is on the Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, or it is about the Secretary of Janet's letter to the Congress that she is talking to them about getting the debt limit under control. Okay, so if you look right here under the U.S. Department of Treasury.gov, under press releases, you'll see the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, sends a letter to congressional leadership on the debt limit. As I went through the press releases, which you can go through here or search, I see that she did another one about 2 or 3 years ago. So this is not the first time, but it may just be the last time because of the state of economy, which we all should know about at this juncture of our being, of our life, if we're paying attention just a little bit to what's going on around the world. Okay, so this letter, let's look at it. Okay, and it says that Secretary of the Treasury, who is Janet Yellen, sends a letter to Congress or congressional leadership on the debt limit. In that letter, she says, "Dear Mr. Speaker, and to the House of Representatives, Public Law 117/73 increased the statutory debt limit to approximately 31.381 trillion on December 16, 2021. As you know, the debt limit is the total amount of money that the United States government is authorized to borrow to meet its existing legal obligations, including Social Security and medical or Medicare benefits, military salaries, interest on the national debt, tax refunds, and other payments." And again, other payments can be include pretty much anything from Social Security benefits, etc., in any type of securities that they have. She goes on to say, "I am writing to inform you that beginning on Thursday, January 19, 2023, the outstanding debt of the United States is projected to reach the statutory limit. Once the limit is reached, Treasury will need to start taking certain extraordinary measures to prevent the United States from defaulting on its obligations. The two extraordinary measures Treasury anticipates implementing this month are one, redeeming existing and suspending new investments of the Civil Service Retirement and Disability Fund, the CSRDF, which is the Civil Service Retirement and Disability Fund, the Postal Service Retiree Health Benefits, or the Postal Fund, and 2, suspending reinvestment of the Government Securities Investment Fund, okay, of the Federal Employee Retirement Savings Thrift or Retirement System Thrift Savings Plan." Okay, so number one, let's break that down just a little bit. The two extraordinary measures that she's saying that they have to begin implementing this month. The first one is redeeming existing and suspending new investments of the Civil Service Retirement and Disability Fund. Okay, so the civil service, let's look up what that word means. Civil service. I did look it up as I was studying, and I meant to bring it up. Okay, so here it is, right here. The civil service is a collective term for a sector of government composed mainly of career civil servants hired on professional merit rather than on appointment or elected, whose institutional tenure typically survives transitions of political leadership. A civil servant, also known as a public servant, is a person employed in the public sector by a government department or agency for public sector. And you can go and read more here on this wiki article or link. Okay, so we see that she's talking about civil servants. Okay, government composed entirely almost of career civil servants, government, okay, civil service, collective term for sector of government, composed mainly of career civil servants hired professionally. Okay, so we're looking at government department agencies primarily in the public sector. Don't let it twist your brain. Okay, so these are the primary organizations that they're going to start. Number one, redeeming existing, right? So redeeming means to get back, right? Or to buy back. You know, it said that when Christ came to redeem his, or will come or has come to redeem his people, that he will be buying them back. Okay, he will be taking them from one state, which is evil or sinful, that they fell under the influence of, and bringing them into a new life of understanding, love, and wisdom, peace. So redeeming existing, what is already there, is what they have to do. Bring back some of the things, or all of the things, or most of the things underneath these organizations that are listed below. And two, suspend reinvestment of government securities investment fund, or the G fund, of the Federal Employees Retirement System Thrift Plan. Okay, so I took a liberty to come here and look that up for you. So we see the G fund, there's different funds here. They have the G fund, the C fund. If you want to know what those all are, you can just go look them up. And actually, there's a shorter list right here. Okay, so let's look at the G fund is government securities investment funds. Okay, so we know that our government securities can include a milo of endless situations. For instance, we know that the birth certificate is a security. It's a bond, right? So if you just start right there at the very basic, you start to understand what a bond is. So if you click here under G fund, you will see what it is. It says, why should I invest in the G fund? The payment of G fund principal and interest is guaranteed by the government. This means that the U.S. government will always make the required payments. Okay, so how do I use it, and am I okay with market fluctuations? The G fund is subject to the possibility that your investment will not grow enough to offset the reduction in purchasing power that results from inflation. What does that really mean, huh? How can I use the G fund? Consider investing in the G fund if you would like to have all or a portion of your TSP account, Treasury thrift fund, is that what that was? Treasury something, I don't know, I have to look that up again. If you would like to have a portion of all of your TSP account completely protected from loss. If you choose to invest in the G fund, you are placing a high priority on the stability and preservation of your money than on the opportunity to potentially achieve greater long-term growth in your account through investment in the other TSP funds. Okay, so that is something, if you've never heard it before, don't feel bad, because I haven't either. And if I had, who knows, I may have, took advantage of it in when I was younger. So I want to encourage you to come here under the TSP government funds and page thrift savings plan. That's what it is. And go over these funds. They're pretty interesting. And who knew that they were there? Hopefully in the future, under our new government, we'll have fair practices, and that we'll be able to have access to investing in similar funds like this. Okay, so primarily she's talking about the G fund. So let's go back to the article. All right, so we ended here, okay, and the G fund will be made whole. After the debt limit impasse has ended, the CSRDF, Postal Fund, and G fund will be made whole. Okay, President and Treasury presidents and Treasury secretaries of both parties have made clear that the government must not default on any obligations of the United States. And as noted, Treasury secretaries in every administration over recent decades have used these extraordinary measures when necessary. Yet the use of extraordinary measures enables the government to meet its obligations for only a limited amount of time, okay? It is therefore critical that Congress act in a timely manner to increase or suspend the debt limit. Right there, I wonder which will they choose? We know what they have been choosing, increasing the debt limit. Okay, so if they do that again, and they're going to print more money, and if they print more money, our economy is going to be flattened like a crepe. I was going to say pancake, but I can't. I have to say like a crepe. Okay, just like a pancake, but made with water, and it's very thin, so you can wrap stuff up inside of it, and it's very delicious. So they have an opportunity to increase or suspend the debt limit. Okay, so if we look at suspend, how does somebody suspend something? If you suspend someone, for instance, from school, if you've ever been suspended from work or school, you know that means that for a little while, you cannot go there. You will not get paid. Nothing's going to happen. Okay, it's just going to be at a standstill. So they have to either suspend it, or let's see, where am I? Okay, so they have to either suspend it, or the two extraordinary measures, they have to redeem it or suspend it. And they want to say suspend new investments of the civil service retirement, disability funds, etc. So go back and read this article very well. It's very informative, and then you can draw your own conclusions. I'm drawing my own conclusions and giving them to you. So maybe that'll give you a place to start thinking about what is really, and start seeing what is really going on. Okay, so she says after the debt limit impasse has ended, the CSRDF, Postal Fund, and G Fund will be made whole. So how can that happen? How can the debt limit impasse end? When they have taken sufficient funds from these organizations or government, organizations, companies here, when many people lose these health benefits, and many people lose security, that's guaranteed, it says, okay, the Federal Employees Retirement Thrift Savings Plan, okay. So we got up here Disability Fund, the Postal Service Retiree Health Benefits Fund, okay. So when they start taking, and then it says and other, where did that part go? System, okay, so it says and other organizations as well. So they'll be looking to glean funds, cut programs, cut benefits, etc. President and Treasury secretaries of both parties have made clear that the government must not default on any of its obligations. As noted, Treasury secretaries in every administration over recent decades have used these extraordinary measures when necessary. Yet the use of extraordinary measures enables the government to meet its obligations for only a short amount of time, as we read earlier. Okay, so that short amount of time means that after they make whatever choice that they make, we're going to be in the same situation again, or possibly even a worse situation. Either way, whatever choice they make, we're going to be in a worse situation. Okay. So failure to meet the government's obligations would cause irreparable harm to the U.S. economy, the livelihoods of all Americans, and global financial stability. Indeed, in the past, even threats that the government might fail to meet its obligations have caused real harms, including the only credit ratings downgrade in the history of our nation in 2011. Increasing or suspending the debt limit does not authorize new spending commitments or cost payers money, taxpayers money. It simply allows the government to finance existing legal obligations that Congress and presidents of both parties have made in the past. Even with this announcement, all of us, I'm sure, can just take 1 or 2 seconds to think of some ridiculous amount of millions or billions of dollars that have gone out, even in just the last week or so, to organizations when people are starving and losing their homes and not being able to eat or not having a place to live. The homeless camps near my domicile on the way to the freeway increase every day. Every time I go, now there were first only 1 or 2 tents on the left side in the woods off the freeway entrance, and now they're on the left and right side, and it's very heartbreaking to see. So let's see, where am I? So yet the use of extraordinary measures enables the government to meet its obligations only for a limited amount of time. It is therefore critical that Congress acts in a timely manner to increase or suspend the debt limit. In a timely manner, it means pretty much as soon as possible. They might not go home tonight, who knows? Failure to meet the government's obligation will cause irreparable harm to the U.S. economy. Okay, I don't know what she's talking about here, because there has already been irreparable harm to the U.S. economy. How much lower can something sink before it sank? So the livelihoods of all Americans and global financial stability. So we know that all of the world was operating on the petrodollar, meaning that other countries were buying oil with the United States dollar. And a lot of the companies are either pulling out now or thinking of pulling out now of the petrodollar and sending their actual dollars that they have purchased from the United States back to us, which is also going to cause our economy to go down and a lot faster and harder. This is increasing or suspending the debt limit does not authorize new spending, commitments, or cost taxpayers money. It simply allows the government to finance existing legal obligations that Congress and presidents of both parties have made in the past. Okay, again, we'll see. It says it simply allows the government to finance existing legal obligations. Now, when we looked at the organizations that they were talking about above, that included, the Postal Service employees, retiree health benefits. Okay, so she said that whatever they come up with is only for a short-term solution. Okay, so the period of time that extraordinary measures may last is subject to considerable uncertainty due to a variety of factors, including the challenges of forecasting the payments and receipts of the U.S. government months into the future. So again, it says the period of time that extraordinary measures may last is subject to considerable uncertainty due to a variety of factors, including the challenges of forecasting the payments and receipts of the U.S. government months into the future. Okay, so how can you forecast it? Easy. Just look at what's going on around you and look at reality. It is very unlikely that cash and extraordinary measures will be exhausted before early June, she says. Consistent with past practice, I will, of course, continue to keep Congress informed as we approach the exhaustion of our resources. Again, I will continue to keep Congress informed as we approach the exhaustion of our resources. Okay, I respectfully urge Congress to act promptly to protect the full faith and credit of the United States. Okay, so there are some interesting things that I've, tried to address here, and I hope that you guys were able to pick up on some of your own. Share if you have, came across something that I may have overlooked or didn't expound enough on. I don't know. One of the things I thought interesting was Treasury versus the Treasury, and that might be significant or not, but it has expressly provided Treasury with the authority to take these actions and prior Treasury secretaries. Okay, that's one thing, Treasury secretary. So they're just calling it Treasury, you know, and we know that there have been a lot of sovereign organizations around the world today that are making great strides in making changes to our current system. And I do feel that many of them have been successful. You know, I think about, you know, the Unum Sanctum or the Papal Bull, which you can look up. I'll give you that assignment, which was in 1803, I believe, the first Unum Sanctum or Papal Bull by Boniface, Pope Boniface VIII, in which he declared in a written letter or a papal bull that he owned everything in the world. And I have a video on that on one of my channels. It's called the Unum Sanctum. And it includes a lot of information that you don't want to miss, including a website that I couldn't find to share with you tonight. But look up look for the full document of the Unum Sanctum. Okay, it is a universal deed that the Pope claims to own everything in the world, and not only everything, every country, every person, every blade of grass, and every individual soul, even the souls of men. It actually says that in the Unum Sanctum. When I first read that, I was like, wow, that even matches with the book of Revelation, you know, that he would claim even the souls of men. So it's very important that you really understand what's going on here. You know, all of these organizations, you know, are in cahoots or intertwined with the Pope, you know. So I know when I was reading an article not too long ago that the Catholic or the Vatican ordered the Catholic canonical here, you know, all the organizations within its system or religious body to bring all of their funds into the Vatican Bank. Now, this was August 23rd in 2022. When I first read the article, I don't know, it was on my other computer, and I read it or understand it to mean that he was calling all businesses around the world to bring all of their monies into the Vatican Bank. Let me see what you think. Let's read the short version of the story. It says that you can continue to the story on Vatican News. Okay, so this is an editor's note. Pope Francis has issued a canonical order for all agencies of the Holy See to deposit their liquid assets in the Institute for Religious Works, the Vatican Bank. Okay, in a recent published in La Osservatore Romano on August 23rd, the Pope said the Apostolic Constitution predicate evangelism should be understood to mean that the IOR, okay, has the sole authority, the Institute for Religious Works, IOR, has the sole authority to manage the movable assets of the Holy See and of the institutions linked to the Holy See. Now, that can be some homework for us, right? To see what institutions are linked to the Holy See. The papal order makes it clear that Vatican offices are not to maintain separate bank accounts in non-Vatican institutions. The policy clearly applies to the Secretary of State, which moved fund has to have an S in order for this sentence to make sense, okay, at the end of fund. The policy clearly applies to the Secretary of State, which moved funds through other institutions to carry out the ill-fated London real estate deal. That is the basis for the current landmark criminal trial, which we'll have to talk about that at another time. The new policy takes effect on September 1st, with all Vatican's institutions required to transfer funds from other banks to the IOR, okay, as soon as possible. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to leave that as it states. Some of the things that we see initially get changed, when people start to take notice of it. For instance, the Unum Sanctum, I had a very difficult time finding it. Google the full Unum Sanctum, like I had originally when nobody was talking about it. Okay, so all of these things make you wonder, okay, what does this really mean? And what does that mean to me or for me and for my family? And what are some things that I and we can do about it? Okay, so the first thing we looked at was the fact that things are going to start, organizations are going to start losing funds, okay? Suspending reinvestment, so they can't reinvest any security interest, money that they have. Okay, so they have to just pretty much leave everything like it is and try to redeem what is already there. All right, so where's the other section where it said and other. Okay, this writing is so big, and the letter's not very long either, so it wouldn't take it that long to read it. But share it with your friends and family. It's a very interesting article, and it gives you a big hint. And if you're watching CNN and listening to some news about, finances and the debt, and even if you go on the worlddebtclock.org, you get a good picture of what is going on. When I first found the World Debt Clock, I can tell you the United States debt was 17 trillion. World debt. I'm trying to remember how long ago that was. It has to be about 10 years ago. I don't know. So you can do the World Debt Clock by country or debt counter. So I'm just going to click on this one as the primary one. If you look at the World Debt Clock, and you look at it every day, you'll be pretty surprised by, the amount of debt that we have here in all these countries. All right. Now, this is the United States. It hasn't populated any numbers yet. It's still loading. Okay. And this is in real time. And that's why you see the numbers here moving. See? So it has the population of the United States first at 334,290,444,000. Oh, there goes another one. Somebody was just born. So the national debt here now is 31, I would say, trillion. Okay, and I'm being kind here because my mind doesn't work after the third set of zeros. Okay, so it's saying the gross domestic product is in the positive, the GDP, and you can look that up. I'm not public debt to GDP ratio 94.90%. Okay, gross domestic product. Well, let's look at that real quick. I don't want to say it wrong. Okay, gross GDP definition. So keep looking at this clock so that you keep your eye on for yourself what's going on, okay? So like I said, I've been looking at it since about 2017. Now it says the gross domestic product is a market value of goods and services produced within a country. Okay, so we go back here now, get out of that window, look at China. So the United States has the biggest debt. I'll go down the left-hand side first, and then we'll come back up. U.S., China, population. I thought China would have more citizens or a higher population than we do. Japan, Germany, UK, India, France. Okay, so we can see as it continues to go down, I don't think that there's anyone higher. Indonesia, Korea, Netherlands, Nigeria, 26 billion population, Russia, and it's ever ever changing and growing. Okay, so if you continue down here on the bottom, it'll give you a mortgage loan calculator, energy output. I like to look at this graph as well, gold and precious metal graph. And again, it'll show you the value once it populates. The gold in ounces, gold holdings by country. Okay, the ounces that the United States have, production change since 2000, the year 2000 is 28%, and precious metal reserves are over here. Now we see Germany has a humongous amount of gold and silver compared to the United States. And International Monetary Fund, not too shabby compared to my budget. Okay, so you can go on to look at Italy, and you can go ahead and continue to watch these figures go down a little further, and then you'll see U.S. monetary base now versus in 2000, U.S. monetary money supply now versus 2000. Okay, so it was 4 billion, whatever comes after billion, 100,000, trillion, billion, whatever comes after that. Okay, so just look at this to keep an eye on where the dollar to silver ratio is, the silver to dollar to silver ratio since in 1913, the dollar to gold ratio, $8.72 per ounce is the dollar to gold ratio versus dollar to gold ratio in 1913. All right, so we see a lot of big changes and big swings even just from like 4 or 5 years ago. Paper to silver ratio 411.36 to 1 versus 118.93. Crypto, okay, it was in 2013 9,841 to 1. Here it's 25.96 dollars now in our current time to 1. Okay, so what else is down here? I've never really went past here. It doesn't look like there's any too much, but I do love this app, and I don't need to look at it every day, but when I first found it, I looked at it quite often. So I'm sharing it with you so you can keep an eye on what's going on in the world today. I'll be interested to see what happens after tomorrow. So look at it tomorrow and look at it for the rest of the week and see what happens. So what are some things that we can do? We've looked at Secretary letter. It's on treasury.gov, and you go under press releases and look back. You'll see another one in 2017. I'm trying to remember the outcome, but look where we are now. Okay, so if they raise the credit limit again, like I said before, then everything is going to go, it's going to go crazy for us. Okay, crazy. Okay, so this is my website, VivianGale.com, which is my website that I started using, or the first website that I ever created, maybe the second one. And this one has on it, of course, my 5 core pathways to personal freedom. But why I wanted to start here is because when I started learning about all of this ways to get freedom and who we are as Moorish Americans or people of color on this land, the Aboriginal and Indigenous people on this land, I put that a very good article here. So on their home, you'll see some interviews, downloadable flyers that I've had in the past. On their personal freedom, you'll find anything that has to do with, that personal freedom. Here you will find declare your Moorish nationality. Okay, addiction recovery. So I'm going to do a video one day and just a walk through both of my websites. All of them don't have drop-down pages, but this one does. So it talks to you about a lot of different the things that a lot of different things that I do. So go through there. But why I came here and for financial freedom, um, and shop. So I think let me go back here first. Okay, so on the declare your Moorish nationality, you click here. If you're on your cell phone, you'll see three little lines. And under those three little lines, it will be this menu. So you click it, and then you might not see a little down arrow to the side, which will bring you to any download pages. So now you want to click on there and go look at why you should declare your Moorish nationality. So how, let me talk to you a little bit at this juncture about what personal freedom means to me, and how I came to start talking about these things, and how I started learning and finding truth for myself. And I've always said since I was younger that I was a truth seeker, and I wanted to live out in my life only truth as I found it to be true. Not anybody else's version of truth, but truth that I have sincerely and prayerfully sought out and studied, okay, which I love to read and I love to study. So I saw out things, and as the Holy Spirit spoke to me, as you see, I am His, okay, I'm a believer. And here I started telling the story about Moorish nationality and finding out who I and other copper-colored people are, Aboriginal and Indigenous people of the land, and that we are are the world's best kept secret. As a matter of fact, the whole, Masonic secret, if you ever known anybody who was a Mason, like the 33rd degree, some of them didn't even know what the whole truth was. But the whole Masonic order secret was about, us being the original heirs of this world, okay? So in this article, it tells you how that happened. So how I first came to learn about the straw man. And this is when I started feeling the pressures of life, from being a single parent, struggling financially. And then I came across A for V probably about 20 years ago. And I was scared to do it, or afraid to do it, because I didn't know anybody who was, but I was desperate. And I tried one thing and nothing bad happened, so I kept it in the back of my mind, and I just kept on researching and studying. So when you have time, excuse me, go over this website, and it'll tell you about the straw man, who is your fake person that is a corporate citizen and a citizen of the United States, all in capital letters, which is a corporation and located in Washington, D.C., in just a 10-mile radius. And when they came here and they took over our land, the Pilgrims and Plymouth Rock and Christopher Columbus, there were already people here. There were already Moors here, people of color here. Okay, and I remember this movie Shaka Zulu that I watched when I was younger, and they came and they brought medicine, guns, bows and arrows, and then, the people started letting down their guards, and then the government, they started trusting these people, and then they, before they knew it, they, kind of tricked them out of everything that they had, including their land, and became lords and masters over us, and then finally enslaved us. Okay, so African Americans, not citizens, and I came to learn that people of color were never intended to be U.S. citizens. The first Moorish family that I started studying with told us about that often, but as I continued to study more, I believe that what I found out is that they couldn't, because they knew that we're Aboriginal and Indigenous. So how are you going to make us citizens? Okay, even over time, their plan and plot had gotten so big that even though they had originally just enslaved us, that they got greedy and Satan took over their heart. We know there's evil, good and evil sources in this world, and they just started putting all men under bondage, okay, through the Social Security and birth certificate system. Okay, and that is something that I would be doing more talks on for people who are newbies and you don't really understand how and when all this stuff came about. So you'll hear a lot of people talking about this. But if you go back to the original or first Bibles, this is in the Coptic Bible, and it has beautiful pictures establishing the fact that we were here and that we were the original people spoken of in Genesis in the Bible, all throughout, and that Yahshua himself was even a man of color. All of these images are taken out of Catholic cathedrals in different countries, and this is the Madonna holding Christ. Okay, so we see the mother of Christ, or Yahshua. We see Christ on the cross. All the great lengths and everything that they've went through to rob us of who we are. Now, in the end of the world, we know that we'll be given a new name, and that Christ was going to come and save us, you know. But I do think that this is a question that has been going through my mind the last couple of weeks is, can we save ourselves? You know, and all of this information is going to enhance your wisdom and open up your mind to the reality and truth and the reasons why some or all or mostly all of these things are happening. So when you come to find out who you are as a copper colored skinned person, then you want to declare your nationality and come out of that fake system. Declare who you are. Now there's people who are becoming American nationals, which has nothing to do with copper colored skin or our indigenous heritage. And that's okay too. Okay, they're just saying, hey, we want out of this system, get us out of this fake United States corporation and bring us back into our rightful sovereignty or our rightful status as citizens, or you know, American citizens. Okay, I don't like to use the word citizen because it has a lot of connotations, but anyhow, you know what I'm saying, right? Okay, so here we go back to declaring your nationality. If you're a United States, Asian, Samoan, Puerto Rican, our birthright was stolen from us, okay? And according to the Bible, it was stolen from us because of disobedience. So now we're at an era and a time where we are waking up, and you can go under this genealogy, look up some of these scriptures, and you know, study these things for yourself. These are studies from pictures from the Coptic Bible, and then when you get down to read the story about what happened and everything and how our birthright got stolen, in the heart of it all, you know. So in the heart of it all, he says, notice what Jacob told his sons, and Jacob called his sons and said, gather together that I might tell you what shall befall you in the last days. Now, when I read the Bible many times, like, and I was young, right? But as it was given to me, and now that I know what I know, and I go back to even Genesis, and it talks about, you know, the Nile River. You know, all of us have seen pictures of, you know, copper-colored people or darker color or whatever it is, people with melanin, you know, and that's all that we saw. So if you continue to look at these graphs and read this article, you'll be able to understand how and why you should declare your nationality, which means coming out of the system, declaring your rightful heirship, and enter your email here, and it will take you to another page. Let me try. And leave your phone number if you want to. If you don't have any questions, then you don't have to. Leave us a message if you need help with nationality or anything that you see on this page. You can submit this form. Now, once you submit the form, it's going to take you to another page, which is From Bondage to Freedom, which is something that I started many years ago with the intention with some other Moors to start doing some workshops and teaching people the steps to freedom. And you can read here. All right, so, and these are some of the steps that I took. You know, today, this is what I have done in the past. But what I would do today is a little bit different. You know, I would do things, you know, totally sovereign. These these steps here, and I'm going to have to change it soon. But a lot of Moors have taken this route. But I do think that because the system is failing, all of the things that we have done, and I'm going to show you, for instance, here, in the past, we can't rely on those forms anymore. Okay, so if you have here, okay, your application, and it tells you to, send it off to, the Department of State, you go to the Superior Court, get your name changed, etc. All of those things that are no longer going to have any validity anymore, because the world is changing and the Moors have been responsible for changing it. I want to also give credit to other organizations, but the Moors have been responsible for changing it for ourselves. Okay, right now we can't change it for everybody in the world, but we can change things for ourselves. And there are different sects of Moors, and people are doing things in different ways. I have nothing but applause, for anyone and everyone who's doing anything to try and make people aware of what's going on and how they can change. If you get from being an American, United States corporate citizen to becoming a national or an American national or Moorish American national, then praise Yah, praise the Most High, right? So, and as you continue to study, you will continue to learn more. So, and this is my second website. So my first website here, I first started, as a life coach, which I still am. And I wanted to brand myself and my books, etc., as you see here. And now I have, when I became very passionate about personal freedom, I didn't feel as though it would be appropriate to put all that information here. So I started a whole nother website, which is called the Personal Freedom Center. And here I branded my business. I've done book publishing. These are some of the books that I have completed. And there you have an opportunity to look at them. This one is on Amazon and this one is on Amazon. So we'll see. The other ones, those are ebooks, etc. So when I decided to make the Personal Freedom website, it was for the expression of the more radical side of who I was becoming, of who I was allowing to unleash herself, like these women up here with their, black power, arms up in the air, proclaiming whatever it is that we feel like we need and have the freedom today to proclaim for ourselves. Okay, so it again tells you about what the personal freedom is, what the 5 core pathways are. And this is a short video of the straw man, understanding your straw man, which is the fake entity in all caps that the government created. It's about 6 minutes long. It's a must watch if you don't really understand what that is. Okay, so it is my intention to awake people of all races to the truth. Okay, so financial tyranny and the debt system is another good video to watch. I have probably 3 or 4 video channels. I apologize for that today. I couldn't see into the future, but I was trying to, and it still might be a good thing that I did separate, the thoughts, like from, Vivian Gale, to Frida Mel and etc. And I have another page with Fart in the Wind. So that's my first book, and it's to me and many people that have read it, it's a great book. But here, as I said, is where you'll find more information. When I started studying, I studied with the Moors. After a few years, it was frustrating because there were so many different sects, and they didn't always agree with what the other one was doing. But that's okay. It was okay to me. The way I look at it is today is, I give applause once again to anybody who has stuck their head out there, to do this work, to learn for themselves and to make other people aware. I didn't want the video to be too long, but come here and look on the steps to freedom. Now, this is all of the things that I have done, uploaded, and a lot of Patrick Devine files. I studied Yusuf El, and a lot of these things today I don't know. I don't really think that they're going to be effective anymore because the United States Treasury is fallen, and that's where we're writing our these forms too. Okay, they're corporate forms that many of us have used. I recently, just this year, did. But I've decided to go back and sovereignize my claims, okay? And so, gee, I had that page open and I lost it. So all of these forms here, when you learn how to sovereignize your forms and send them back to the Treasury on the private side of the Treasury, that is what we are learning to do now to try and make a difference. I want to show you what that looks like, and I primarily, am the type of person that will say, hey, I made a mistake, or, this is what I thought before, but this is what I'm doing now. And so this is exactly what I'm doing here right now, is that I'm saying to you, hey, I started out here, I got confused and frustrated, and so I ended up going over here, and using these government forms, to try and establish my trust, try to garner my trust funds, and other things that might have come with that, like the UCC lien process and doing those forms. But today I have found that it makes more sense for me, even though I did a lot of work doing those forms and everything, to do them over and to resubmit them here. Light to Jerry Bay shared with me some of the forms that she's been working on for the last year or so, and I've been going over them and reading them, and so I decided to do all of these things over in the same fashion. So here we are saying that we don't want to be a part of anything that this corrupt system has to offer. We're standing up and declaring to them, to the world, to ourselves, and aligning ourselves with Spirit, and the power behind us, backing us, and in us is the Most High. And we will just continue, to maintain our stands and do things as sovereign, indigenous peoples of the land, for lack of a better word. So here we have a lot of different forms, and she has put together, or the Moors who were involved in assisting her, put together these 40 forms, and they're in my bank liens, etc., universal commercial code lien on your own straw man, and everything that we've been trying to do with corporate forms, or okay, so dead forms are for dead people. Living forms are for alive people. And that was really drilled home for me. A lot of times, or, we think that we're doing something of easier and faster way. And I probably thought so too. I didn't really, know which path to choose, and I just retreated back, inside of myself and said, well, I'm going to take a break and I'm just going to study. I'm going to allow Spirit to lead and guide me, the Holy Spirit to lead and guide me. And so this is what I'm doing now. And this is what I encourage you all to do, is to take back your sovereignty, your Aboriginal indigenous standing as Moorish American if you're a person of color, Asiatic. And in the future, the idea or thinking is that the United States has also been subjected to a universal papal bull, unum sanctum, from the Moors. And so now the Moors have taken back the land and everything in it. Every organization, every corporation has been leaned and has been served. And as I said, there are other organizations such as Mark Christopher, the Freedom School. Those are two that I'm familiar with. And other even Moorish American sects that are out there working for the cause of freedom, greater freedom, and complete freedom. And for that, my heart sings. So let's embrace each other, share with each other the things that we are learning and doing, and so that we all can get the freedom that we seek until Yahshua comes. I don't know what your personal beliefs are, but I know that Scripture says that He is the only one that can save us. And so to answer that question to myself is, can I save myself? Am I responsible to save myself? Well, Scripture says to come out of Babylon. And I have read that for many years of my life, decades even. And over the last few years, it stuck out for me that a revelation was telling me to come out of Babylon. And it went on further to say that to come out so that I would not receive her plagues. It says that her plagues shall come in one day. And it says that all the kings of the earth are going to basically turn their back on Babylon. And we know that Babylon, that great whore, is the Church of Rome. Okay, that is a study that I'll do with you another time, because there is absolutely no doubt. There is absolutely no doubt. And I know Light doesn't mind me sharing these documents. I'm working on mine now. But listen to her videos, if you have before, take a second look, because where we are right now with the system failing, there has to be a new system in place. And the Moors are rising. The Moors are rising. And just like I heard her quote on one of her videos recently, it's just like Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, is that when the economy falls, and this is my paraphrasing, that things were going to come to a complete standstill. But then when commerce got back rolling again, that it was going to be in favor of the Moors. Okay, so the websites are being done over, the Moorish American Consulate websites are being done over. And so I just encourage you to just take a pause. And a lot of people have been taking pause last month or the month before. And you've heard so much videos about, food shortages are coming, the world is going to the end, we're going to starve to death, and all this other stuff. But now everybody's pretty quiet, and that gives me pause. It gives me concern or reason to take pause as well, And I've been taking a step back myself, and allowing myself to listen and receive, guidance and direction from above and from within here. One of the acronyms for Islam is I self am law and master. Okay, so we have to know that I self am one, law and master over this body, over this mind, and I am creating and controlling everything with the Holy Spirit within me for life. I don't know that I have any more to say, but if you have any questions or any comments that you want to share, again, I encourage you to, look over these articles, look at everything that's happening in the world today. Look at this article on my website, take some time. Sorry, not this page, but under the personal freedom, declare Moorish nationality. And when you get over to, oh darn it, I changed the page for the Personal Freedom Center, but I want to show you that if you come down to the bottom of this website, but it won't show it here. Oh, let me see. Yes, it will. Okay, you don't see it, but if you go down to the page, the window doesn't go down that far. Let me see if I could drag it. No. You can click on the Personal Freedom Center, and it will take you right there. So, and then you'll be able to see From Bondage to Freedom, which I will be creating soon, Steps to Freedom, or video tutorials and classes for newbies who want to just get started. And that's a good thing, to do. So I want to be patient and help you declare your nationality, whether you're going to want to declare your nationality as Moorish American or American national, whatever have you. But the big difference is us saying, hey, this is who we are. We're the Aboriginal and Indigenous people of the land, and everything belongs to us. We have taken it back. We are taking it back. We have predominantly taken it back and are currently the only law of the land, on the land, okay? So we are growing, and it is happening quickly, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's an amazing thing. So in the past, it might have seemed like it was too early for this, to be taking place, but the fullness of it coming into fruition is timely and is ordained by the Most High, God, Yeshua, however Allah call the Most High, okay? And I want to end this video now because it's gotten a lot longer than I said. Stop by my websites, the Personal Freedom Center, and get going on declaring your nationality. And also on Bondage to Freedom, I have some blogs. I have some free stuff here. And where is my blog? Okay, here's my blog. And I want to show you this because there's a chart on this blog that shows you the different nationalities. And I know it's a little small. Somebody left a comment. Oh, let's go. So I guess I have to go and improve it. So anyways, in your computer, you might be able to look at this a little bigger. I don't know if I have it under free stuff, but I do have a free stuff page. But on this chart, it tells you the different types of citizenships and tax obligations under USC, under Internal Revenue Codes. And so we'll see here U.S. citizen or statutory U.S. citizen, U.S. national, okay? And I don't think that Moorish American was in here, but I did think to put it in there. Let me see if I did. No, I didn't. But maybe I will. This one came from scdm.org. Anyway, peace out. Peace and blessings. If you need me, you can come here and contact me right here. Okay. I was going to tell you something else. Let me think. Store. Oh, free stuff. Yeah, look over here on the free stuff and watch this. And I'll be adding some more stuff here. So there's a lot of free folders, files, PDFs and stuff here that you can get. Okay, this is interesting. Hand patents, allodial titles. Okay, every man is own lawyer. Everything is fictional. And so you get some more education. So I'll be adding, as time permits, more here. And invite you to share my sites with your friends. If there's any information that you want and you don't see it here, please contact me. I also have a store here. And once you learn how to nationalize the forms as we have done, like the status corrections, which is our judicial name change and proclamation judicial name change, we're going to come over here and we get a lot of ideas by using these forms. And even, I don't know, like if any of this stuff is going to work anymore. If you're doing it, let me know if it's still working for you. But if it is, I don't know if it's going to continue to work with the 1099As, any of this stuff, unless we do it from a national perspective. These forms are not. If you look in each package, it'll give you a list. Oh, it should give you a list, okay, of everything that's in that packet. I'll have to fix that one. But, like, for instance, view package items, okay. Oh, I clicked on the wrong link before. So it gives you a list of everything that's in that package, and you can download it. And some of the items have PDFs and audios, tutorials. And that's it. And once again, contact me, Freedom L, through the contact window here if you want to talk about anything doing with freedom and bondage. And like I said, I will be doing from bondage to freedom classes soon, and stay tuned for that. Those will be free, and I'll be creating another sign-up form specifically for that. So all of this is going to change. I don't know exactly how and what to put in its place right now, so I'm praying about that, and I'm waiting for Spirit to tell me what to do. So if you feel like you want to use any of these and change them and nationalize them, meaning putting them in lowercase, red or blue as the government, and you'll learn how to do those things as we continue in our classes, or as you continue to watch the Moorish American Consulate or Light to Jury Bay. You'll be learning how to do those things, okay? And we'll be sharing. I'll be sharing what I'm learning and what I'm doing now with you. Peace and blessings. Thank you for tuning in.